Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope that your Monday's going well. I'm super excited to be getting ready to do our next creative escape with you. So those of you that are planning to join me today, feel free to grab your pencil and your paper. And we're going to get started here in just a second. For those of you that maybe this is your first time joining me on this, what we're doing during this kind of global crisis is just trying to provide you with an opportunity for a free creative outlet to relieve some stress, have some fun, and be a good distraction for a while, okay? So each week on Sundays, I'm posting on my website at the link above a theme for each week that's kind of a drawing challenge. And then on the following Monday, we sit down together here on Facebook and do the challenge together. So this week we're doing a fantasy theme, and at the link above you can find the list of items, but it includes dragons, swords, wizards, centaurs, elves, the Cheshire Cat's on there. But today I thought that we would do just a cute little gnome, okay? So if you want to do that with me, feel free to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around so you can see what we're going to do today, okay? So bear with me 1 second here while I spin you around. Okay, so there's our cute little gnome that we're going to draw today, and he lives in a little mushroom house. Is kind of what I thought might be fun. So that's where we're going to work on today. So as I said, if you want to join along, feel free to grab a piece of paper and a pencil to start with, and then if you've got some colored pencils, you might want to fill in with some colored pencil a little later on, okay? All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get started with our mushroom house, okay? All right, so in the example that I gave you there, the mushroom was clear at the top of the page. So you want to make sure when you're doing your mushroom that that's where you start. And we're going to start with the mushroom cap, okay? And you can make yours however big or small you want to. Maybe just big enough that your little gnome can live in it though. Okay, so start at the top of the page. And when you're drawing, you want to make sure that you draw fairly lightly so that you can erase if you make a mistake or as we draw through something later. Okay, but I'm going to push a little harder so that I make sure it shows up on the screen for you, okay? So we're going to start this mushroom cap with kind of a flat top, and it's going to slant down to the side and bump out just a little bit and curve on around, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and start the back side of the mushroom cap kind of like so, all right? And then I'm going to work the other direction and come back to the top of the mushroom cap. Again, it's going to slant down and out to the side and bring it around and down that direction just a little bit, okay? And I'm going to try to make these a little bit more even. So I'm going to adjust that a little bit and erase. Perfectly fine to make mistakes, and you know, my goal for these is for it to be a stress-free, judgment-free zone for all of us, okay? You know, drawing gnomes is not exactly something that's in my normal wheelhouse, but I sure enjoy it. I find a lot of fun, and you know, I'm not going to judge myself if I make a mistake, and I hope that you will give yourself that same permission as you're working too, okay? Because I certainly won't be judging you. We're all here just to have some fun. Okay, so then our next step is going to be to draw the bottom part of the red mushroom cap. So we're going to start over here at the edge and make kind of a little narrow point, and then it's going to curve up, and then we're going to dip back, oops, flatten that out just a little bit, dip back down, and then we're going to curve back up and come around and make a point again over here at the edge, just like that, okay? Maybe smooth it out a little bit. I'm going to darken mine so I make sure you can see it. There we go. All right, and then we're going to put the stem of the mushroom in there. We're going to make it a little chunkier than a mushroom stem might normally be, so that we can make sure our gnome has some space to live. He doesn't want to be cramped while he's in quarantine, you know. All right, so we're going to start at the dip right here, kind of the roughly the center of it. And we're going to angle out and curve down and make that kind of a chunky little mushroom, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Again, we're going to curve out and down like so. And I think I got this first one a little long, so I'm going to shorten him up a little bit. Okay? All right, then we're going to take the mushroom cap and extend it to our stem, just like that. Okay? And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and put the little curves or veins, I suppose you'd call them, in here. that are on the underneath side of a mushroom cap. Okay, so just kind of echo the curve of your stem a little bit and bring those lines out to the edge of the mushroom cap there at the back. Okay? All right, how you doing? You looking okay out there? All right, if you have any questions as we go, feel free to type a comment there and I'll try to look at those as I'm working. My phone's positioned a little bit above my eye level line, so forgive me if I miss them. I'll answer them when we finish too, if I happen to miss you. Okay? All right, well, because I grew up watching the Smurfs, maybe, I don't know, I love the mushrooms that have the red caps and the white spots. See this? Yeah. So that's where we're headed next. We're going to draw our little spots on our mushroom cap, okay? And I love to do some that look like they're rolling around the side of the mushroom cap. I think it adds just a little bit of dimension there. So we're going to go ahead and add some here. Okay, do like a semicircle and make some that are bigger and some that are smaller. Okay. And again, feel free to make it a little sketchy to start with. You know, loose line till you get the shape of your circle. And then darken it up and erase what you don't need. Right? Again, perfectly fine to make corrections and adjustments. Right? I think we have to do that in every drawing that we do, and even in life. Yeah? All right. And before I go too much further, I forgot to do the little outline of the mushroom cap here. So I'm going to put that in before I overlap it with a circle accidentally. So I'm going to start here in the corner. We're going to be a little narrow, and then we're just going to echo this line right here, but we're going to make it a little thicker as it rolls into the main part of the mushroom. Okay? So just echo that line as closely as you can. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because I don't think mushrooms grow perfectly, right? And again, judgment-free, stress-free, we're just having fun, yeah? So if you make a mistake or get a little off, so what? No big deal. Okay? All right, so we'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and finish our circle. So I'm going to do another one like here that's a little smaller, maybe a dinky one there. I feel like we need one over here on this corner. I'm going to do a big chunky one right there. And let's see, maybe another one here. And let's balance that with a small one there, maybe a couple of little smaller ones in this area. You know, just kind of whatever feels good to you and makes you feel like your mushroom cap is balanced and has enough spots on it. And when you're happy with it, call it good, okay? I'm going to darken that line just a little bit. How's that showing up on your screens? Can you see okay? All right. Give you a second to adjust your mushroom as you need, and then we're going to move on and start adding some details here. Okay? All right, well, in this kind of echo that we did here, I kind of saw that as like a little roof line, and I kind of liked adding a little border to it, or a pattern, maybe you'd say. So I'm going to do just some vertical lines, roughly evenly spaced, that kind of rotate with the curve of the mushroom cap. And then you can alternate those colors, like two different colors, when you're working on filling in some color later on. Okay, so I did 2 different shades of brown on mine, but you know, you feel free to do what you want to do. It's your artwork, right? You're the artiste today. So I tell my students, you know, when they walk in my classroom, they got an artist license or an artistic license, and they didn't even know it. So guess what? You joined my Facebook Live, and you got one today too. All right, I'm going to adjust that shape just a little bit. Okay. There we go. So now we got a little bit of a border. All right, so now you need to decide how tall you want your stem to be for sure. And go ahead and draw a little bit of like a grass line here, fairly flat in front of the mushroom. And then feel free to wiggle it just a little bit as it goes to the side, okay? And the reason I say flat there in the center is because that's where the door's going to sit, and we don't want like a little wavy patch of grass in front of the door. It would make it kind of hard to open, right? All right, speaking of doors, let's go ahead and start by drawing our door, okay? And I liked to do an arched doorway, but if you would rather do a rectangle one, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Or maybe yours is going to look like the door to a hobbit house and it's going to be a perfect circle. That's fine too. You feel free to adjust and make yours look like you want it to look, okay? All right, so I'm going to just kind of do a big arch like so. roughly like that. And again, if yours isn't quite the shape you want, feel free to adjust and erase. Nothing wrong with that, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and put a border like this around my door so it kind of ties together nicely. And we're going to do that on the windows too, or at least I am in mine. You don't have to if you don't want to. Or come up with a different pattern for yours, or maybe yours is just solid and it doesn't have a pattern. That's okay too. Lots of ways to get a good artwork, right? We don't all have to do it the same way. Be kind of boring if we did, wouldn't it? All right, so we're just going to echo the arch of our door. Here we go. And then we're going to go ahead and put the pattern in there that we used earlier, okay? And as I do this, I'm going to try to rotate with the arch. Okay, so my lines are going to change direction slightly and start to slant here at the arch, straight up and down at the center of the arch, and then we're going to slant the other way. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If your rectangles are off just a little bit, they're not quite evenly spaced, big deal. Nothing wrong with that, right? Or if it bugs you, we'll go back and fix it, okay? Feel free to adjust. All right, so then we're going to make our door look like it's a wooden door, okay? So we're going to put some vertical lines in here to represent the wooden slats in the door. Okay, again, you decide how big they're going to be. You decide if they're evenly spaced or if they're a little off kilter. Okay, maybe your gnome likes things that are off kilter and he doesn't want a door that has evenly spaced panels, right? Okay, and then we're going to put our door handle, and I think I'm going to put mine right here, and I'm just going to do a circle. But again, if you want to do something different, you feel free to do that. Maybe yours is a vertical door handle, you know? It doesn't have to be a circle. Okay, maybe it's horizontal, up to you. Okay? All right, then we're also going to draw some little wiggly wood grain lines in here that you can bring out a little later on with your colored pencil if you choose to color it, or you can just leave it, entirely up to you. Maybe you want to put a little knot in your wood, you know, just kind of a wiggly little diamond shape there. Feel free to do that. Entirely your choice. Okay? What do we think? I think we're getting there. How's yours coming? You doing okay? All right, so next I'm going to draw some arch-shaped windows on either side of the door so that our gnome can let a little light in, okay? So I'm going to start with just a horizontal line for the windowsill, roughly like so. And you decide how thick it's going to be, but I think I'm going to do mine about like so. And then just inside the edge of the rectangle, I'm going to put my starting and ending points, and I'm going to do an arch, just like the shape of the door. Again, you can decide how tall it's going to be. You want to place them low enough that our short little gnome, when we draw him, can make sure he can see out the window. And then again, we're going to echo that shape so that we can put a nice border around our window. And then we're going to put a vertical line down the center of the arch and a horizontal line across the middle of the arch, like so. And then again, we're going to repeat that kind of rectangular pattern that we did around the door and around the edge of the mushroom cap. Okay, like so. And then when you color it, if you color those patterns the same, it'll really tie together nicely. Okay, let's repeat that over here on this side. So try to line it up and just carry an imaginary line across. And again, horizontal line here. Try to get about the same thickness. Okay, and again, horizontal line to connect those. And then I'm going to give myself a reference point for the top of the window so I know how tall I need to go to roughly match the other one. So just real lightly, I'm going to put a little line right there. You darken this up so I can make sure you guys are seeing that okay. All right. And again, starting point and ending point just at the inside edge of that rectangle that you drew. And then go ahead and do your arch, aiming for that reference point that we did for the top of the window, and bring it back down to the other side. Okay, again, we're going to echo the inside edge of the shape for our border. Here we go. And vertical line down the center, horizontal line across the middle, and then put your little border pattern on your window. Okay, kind of like so. How you doing out there? Just coming along okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on our gnome then. And he's kind of a fun character to draw, I thought anyway. So we're going to decide, I think I'm going to put him kind of right down here in this area. And you get to decide how big he's going to be. But lightly, I want you to start with just a circle, okay? And let's say, oh, roughly this size, okay? And maybe yours is a little bit more oval shaped, like sideways. That's okay too, entirely up to you, okay? Darken that line a little bit so you can see, and erase what you don't need, kind of clean it up a little bit. And I would encourage you to keep yours a little bit on the lighter side as your drawings, because we're going to do some erasing here in a minute. I'm pushing a little harder than I normally would because I want to make sure that it shows up on the screen and you can see okay. All right, how you doing? Got your circle? Okay, so now we're going to do a big nose for our gnome, okay? And I think I'm going to do mine kind of a big oval. I'm going to do it roughly here in the middle, okay? Kind of a chunky oval, like so. Okay? And then I'm going to give him some eyes, and we're going to do just part of an oval for each of those, okay? So start at the nose here at the edge. You decide how tall those eyes are going to be. And again, just kind of a half of an oval roughly, maybe a little more. Okay, same thing on this side. You can decide how closely spaced they are too. Maybe you want yours closer than that, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. All right, and then we're going to echo that shape for the colored part of the eye, like so. And then if I were going to fill this in with color, I'd probably stop there and go ahead and fill that in with your color when you're coloring. Maybe you want yours blue or maybe green. Okay, so fill that whole oval in with your blue or your green or whatever color you're using. And then just take your black colored pencil and go right over the top of that color that you chose and put a little dot right down here at the bottom to represent the pupil. Okay? If you're not going to color yours, maybe go ahead and draw that in there so he looks a little more realistic. Okay? All right. Now we're going to give our little gnome a stocking cap to wear. And you can make yours look like whatever you want, but I'm going to have mine cut across the top of this eye right here. And it's going to kind of wiggle across this way a little bit and stick out past the side of his head. And then I'm going to kind of dip across this way, maybe touch the top of that eye. And then it's going to sit kind of cockeyed on his head a little bit. So it's going to poke off that direction. Okay? All right, now I'm going to erase the top half of this circle here that I don't need anymore, because it's all going to be underneath the stocking cap, okay? All right, so I'm going to put like a fluffy edge or hem on the bottom of my stocking cap. So I'm going to put a little curve at the edges, both of these edges right here. And then I'm going to try to echo this line a little bit. So we're going to dip down, dip back up, down again, and then curve on around to meet the other edge like so. Okay. All right. Then we're going to come just inside that hem and give ourselves a starting point on each side. Now I'm going to make my hat kind of come up and curve over just a little bit, but maybe you want yours to go straight up, or maybe yours is going to curve the other direction. Entirely up to you. Okay. But I'm going to start over here, and we're going to come up. And we're going to dip across a little bit, kind of curve up around the top. And I'm going to put a little dip on the end, curve it around, come back up. I'm going to get a little skinnier right here just for the fun of it. Dip back around this way, poof back out, and cut in just a little bit. And I'm going to stop there for just a second. Okay, I'm going to let you catch up for just a minute, and then I'm going to work the other direction in. And we're going to put like a little crease or a fold right there. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Going to come kind of straight up a little bit, and then we're going to curve and cut across that little dip. And now we've got a little bit of a fold going on, yeah? Okay, now I'm going to erase the grass line through here because I don't need that, right? The stocking cap's going to overlap it. Okay, get rid of it here on the end. And maybe make this foof just a little bigger, so it's not like right on the grass line maybe. All right, let me darken these lines so I make sure you can see. we go. And darken this line so make sure you can see that okay too. Maybe clean up the edge a little bit. Cut across that eye. There we go. Okay, now I want my guy's stocking to have like a little ball hanging off the end of it. So I'm going to put just a little line right here. And then I'm going to draw a circle right there. Okay? All right, we'll come back and decorate that hat here in just a little bit. All right, so now we're going to come back down to the nose, and I'm going to give my guy a mustache and a giant beard that's going to cover like the vast majority of the outline of his face, okay? The beard part I'll save until we do colored pencil, or if we don't have time for that, just the few of us here, then you can do it on your own, and I'll kind of show you how to get started, okay? All right, but let's get the outline of the mustache going here. All right, so you can make yours however you want, but I'm going to start roughly in the center of the nose. And I'm going to make it kind of cockeyed a little bit so it's slanted. So rather than coming straight out this way, I'm going to bring mine down out this way. And I'm going to extend it past the bottom edge of his little head there, okay, or body, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to come back up here and kind of a V shape in the middle right underneath the nose. And then this side, I'm going to bring out this direction a little bit more. And then I'm going to start up here at the nose again and work backwards a little bit. So I'm going to foof out and cut back in and bring that to a point and maybe adjust my shape just a little bit. Okay, again, take the eraser and clean up any part of the face there that you don't need that the mustache is covering. Okay. There we go. All right, and then we're going to give this guy a mouth right here. Okay, and I'm going to make mine look like he's smiling a little bit, so I'm going to make sure I put a really good curve on the bottom edge right there. Okay, so that'd be his tongue showing in there, or maybe you want to give yours some teeth. Maybe he's got some teeth right here. That's kind of fun. It's so fun to just be creative and be a little silly and just have fun with your drawing, right? Okay, so now our guy needs some arms and a couple of hands maybe. What do you think? All right, so we're going to start kind of right up here next to his nose, and we're going to make just a small triangle shape like that, okay? Pretty narrow right down here at this end, but not touching, okay? Then at the end of that triangle, I want you to put a little oval for like the cuff on his shirt, okay? And then we're going to do kind of a mitten shape here, okay? So we're going to curve around, kind of an ovalish, and then we're going to tuck in, give him a little thumb sticking out, and cut back to that little cuff on his shirt sleeve, just like that, okay? All right, we're going to do the same thing over here on this side. So roughly about there, we're going to do our little triangle shape. Again, pretty narrow at the end, but not touching, like that. Put an oval on the end of it for your cuff on your sleeve. And then we're going to do another mitten shape, and you still want the thumb kind of pointing in, okay? So start on the top, curve around with your big oval or teardrop shape, tuck it in here just a little bit, give him a thumb sticking out, and connect to your cuff. Just like so. How you doing? All right, we're going to give our guy some big feet next, okay? So let's see, I'm going to start roughly here and just do a big oval that tucks underneath his body, like so, okay? And then we're going to come over here and do the same thing on this side. All right, just a couple of really big floppy feet, right? And if you want, you can give those feet just a little bit of a dimension by giving it a kind of a curved line across the toe just a little bit. Doesn't have to connect to the other side, but it can if you want it to. And then same thing over here. Just pull off of your circle right here. We're going to make kind of a curve right there maybe for his toes. What do you think? Does that give it a little dimension? All right, so back up here on his hat then, I'm going to draw some circles on his hat so that it matches the circles on the top of the mushroom here. But you feel free to do something else. Maybe you want yours to have stripes or zigzags or sprinkles or confetti. You know, just play with it. Have some fun. Or maybe he's got some stars on his hat. Maybe he's kind of a gnome that's got some magic skills. Okay? Entirely up to you. Let your imagination run wild and have some fun with it. But I'm going to make mine look like he belongs to that little mushroom cap house over there. And he really likes the spots on his mushroom, so he's going to put them on his hat too. Okay, again, different sizes of circles kind of scattered around, make it balance out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to bring that fold in just a little bit and have a circle kind of disappearing around that fold. Okay, another one here, maybe some small ones scattered. Let's do another big one up there. You know, just play with it. And if you put something down and you go, meh, I don't really like that, well, feel free to change it. That's okay. Right? Okay, what do we think? A couple more little small ones scattered around. Do as many or as few as you want, or again, do a completely different pattern. You certainly don't have to match mine. I'm going to darken those to make sure you can see them. I keep forgetting. Sorry. All right. How you doing out there? How's your little gnome coming along? Okay. All right. The only other thing that we're going to add as far as laying out our sketch goes is maybe a little pathway for our gnome that leads to his door. Okay, so we're going to start at the inside edge of the door here and the edge of the door here, and then you can decide where it goes, but I kind of like to have mine tuck underneath our little gnome here. Okay, so we're going to just curve the path a little bit, and you want to make it get a little wider as it comes down to the edge of your paper, because things that are closer to you are bigger, and of course when they go away from you they get smaller. So if you can do a little bit of that with your path here, it's going to help add a little bit of dimension to your drawing. Okay, create a little bit of depth, okay? And of course, if you wanted to do some, you know, maybe he's got a little shed over here. You could do another little mushroom and give him a little gardening shed maybe, or maybe you want to draw some tulips or ferns or something like that growing in front of his house. You could certainly do that too, okay? But let me show you real quickly with some colored pencil how to go about doing his beard. And then we'll call it a day, okay? And let you go do some coloring on your own here. All right, so I've got 3 different colors of brown here. And I did kind of a lighter color for his mustache. Let me pull this in here so you can see the finished version, okay? So you can see I did the mustache a little lighter because I wanted that to stand out and make sure it didn't get lost. And then the rest of his beard is a lot darker, okay? So I'm gonna show you kind of how I did that. Okay, let's start with the lighter part of the beard. So I'm going to grab a light brown Crayola here. Okay, nothing fancy today. We're just using the Crayolas. All right, so I like to use a circular motion when I fill in color because you want those little teeny tiny circles to overlap, and it helps your color to lay down more evenly and not be real streaky, okay? So most of the time when I work with colored pencil, that's what I do, unless I have a specific reason for doing this differently. Okay, so we're going to lay down just a basic light brown here. So in case we have any light spaces where we don't go over it with a hair stroke here in a little bit, you don't have white paper show through, you've got at least got a hint of color showing through. Does that make sense? All right, so then I'm going to use my pencil strokes to create some hair that flows the same direction as the mustache. Okay, so I'm going to push harder and just bring some strokes across this way. Okay, and again, same thing on this side. Just lay a few in there. And then we're going to switch and do just a regular brown. Okay, again, we're going to go back in, and it's okay if it overlaps the first ones. In fact, that's kind of what you want. It just creates a little more depth and dimension there. Okay, and it's okay if it gets a little wild and crazy. That's all right. And then grab that lighter brown and go back in and add some more strokes. Okay. Until you're happy with it, you just continue layering in there. Okay? All right. And then I forgot to put in kind of the top outline for our beard, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. So right here at the base of the eye and the edge of the nose, I'm going to do just a curved line that comes up this direction and touches the stocking cap. And then same thing on this side. We're going to curve up and touch the stocking cap. Okay? All right, and now I'm going to kind of lighten the edge of his body just a little bit so it doesn't show through the colored pencil quite as badly, because we're going to overlap it anyway. Okay. All right, so then with the beard, I took the dark brown and again just put kind of a layer of dark brown in here, and I'm just going to kind of do this a little quicker. So I'm going to do bigger circles, and notice I'm using the side of the pencil. That really helps in eliminating streaks as well. But again, you want your circles to overlap. just for even application of color and you don't get too streaky that way either, yeah? All right, so we're just gonna lay in a dark brown. And then we're gonna put some hair strokes in there, just like we did with the mustache. And we're going to use 2 darker shades of brown, but you could always throw in a third one for some highlights or some accents or just for some fun, you know, dimension. Okay? All right, well, I'm going to start with the dark brown here. I'm going to start up here at the edge of his beard, you know, that outline that we kind of defined. And I'm going to kind of push to the side and do a curve and then come down and flip out at the end. Okay? So push out to the side, come out, flip. Push out, curve, flip. Okay? And again, it doesn't have to be super organized. Just, you know, make sure you don't overlap the nose because that colored pencil will be hard to lift off there and then you're going to have a hard time coloring his nose, okay? So again, just give him some wild, crazy beard hair going on here. But again, that curve at the top really helps to add some dimension, okay? And we'll come back in with some more colors here in just a second. Okay, at the bottom, you can kind of decide, but maybe the ones to the left curve this way a little bit and flip out at the bottom. Maybe the ones in the middle are a little more straight and then they curve the other direction as you go to the other side. Okay, again, don't overlap the mouth. Okay, but do go ahead and overlap the bottom and overlap into the feet a little bit too. And if I were going to spend time coloring the whole thing, you know, before I started layering these colors, probably what I would do is go ahead and layer in the black for the feet, whatever color you're choosing for the path and the grass, so that your hair strokes can just kind of lay out here and you don't have to worry about working this underneath color up in between each hair strand. It's already there and you can just overlap, right? Okay, but let's go ahead and do this side too. So again, start at the top, push out, curve around, echo the shape of the body a little bit, and then, you know, give it a flip at the end there. Okay? So up and out, and again, it's okay if it's a little wild and crazy. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? All right. And then I'm going to take just a regular brown and add some interest with some lighter hair color strands in there. Again, repeat that same motion, up, curve it out, and give it a flip at the bottom. Okay, straight down here. And if you have a sharpened pencil, it'll give you kind of a sharper line. Some of my lines are getting a little fuzzy because my pencil's not quite as sharp as it could be. Entirely up to you and the look that you're going for, right? And not all of your hair strands need to come all the way down. Maybe you need to do some shorter ones to kind of fill in here a little bit. That's okay. Okay, if you want to add a few highlights in there, go ahead and grab that light brown that we were using for the mustache and add some of those in there too. Just layer in some good color, get it filled in pretty good. So you're overlapping your strokes a little bit. Just like so. Okay, fill in the white areas. All right, and then I'm going to grab that dark one again and I'm going to go back and put in some darker hair strands just to accent and make it stand out just a little bit better. Okay, just gives it some definition that way. We're not losing our highlights, but we're making sure that that darker brown contrasts against the light brown of his mustache so we don't lose his mustache, okay? But maybe you want his mustache to blend in a little bit, and that's okay too, you know? You can certainly do that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. So again, just play, use that artistic license, and have a good time. Okay, and there we go. We got ourselves a beard and a mustache. All right, friends, well, I'm going to show you the finished version one more time. This is kind of what I did to work from today, all colored nice and neat. Feel free again to change colors as much as you want, and notice that I didn't really fill in the background completely. I was in a little bit of a hurry, so I just kind of tried to give it a loose feel back here in the background, again with the grass and stuff too. So feel free to have fun with it, play, work on it several days, nothing wrong with that either. You know, and if you get one done and you need a little bit more stress relief, maybe pull up that drawing challenge, the link's in the description there. Pull it up on the website and see what else you can combine and come up with, okay? All right, well, let me turn you around here just a second. Hi, guys. All right, well, I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope that you'll share what you've drawn in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're doing. Again, no judgment here. No stress. I just want to have some fun with you and celebrate all the great work that you do. And I hope that you'll share this with your friends if they're needing a little stress relief too. I'll post the replay at the link above, so if you need to walk through again, you're sure welcome to do that. And check back next Sunday for our next drawing theme. Okay? Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I sure hope you had fun, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.